Welcome to the Earn Every Dime Online show, where our job is to help you uncover new ways to earn a living online. Now, we do this by talking through concepts, ideas, strategies, and people that hopefully help you make more money online. Listen in as Sheri Munsell and I talk about legit work from home jobs and how to earn every dime online. Enjoy. All right, guys, you guys are going to get an absolute treat today. And that's because of my guest, certainly not because of me. Well, because you hear me all the time. So, my guest today, we're going to be talking with Sheri Munsell. Now, listen, I say her name wrong when I first met her. She says everyone else says her name wrong, and you probably will too because of the way it's spelled. Sheri, why do people get your name wrong?
Because it's spelled Sheri, which is typically Sherry. So
And I've
and my
seen
mom
Sherry
thought she was
spelled.
being so clever when she did that. She thought she was being so clever, but she just set me up for disaster.
So I gotta constantly correct people. You know what that's like
Right?
for a kindergartner, mom?
Right.
Right. And I've got a weird middle name and I don't even say it. I remember when I graduated high school and I scratched off. This is back when you handed them the card and then they looked at it. I said, don't try to say the middle name, bro. It's just going to mess people up. So, and I don't want that embarrassment. I've been holding it for all these years. But anyway, Sheri, I want to talk to you a little bit about, and I want our guests or our audience to hear some of the amazing things that you are doing with your company. And I tell you, when I first met you, and we met you through, I met you through John, who we were both kind of tag team teaching, right,
Right.
about his company. So I thought, man, we've got some good synergy here. Let me see if I can have her come on as a guest and just talk about some of the things, the amazing things that you're doing in your business. It's similar to what I do, just a little differently, right? And man, I tell you, I think our folks that are listening are going to have a great time hearing the nuggets that you're going to drop. Now, as I got it right, when I'm doing the research, it is you do everything you can to help people work from home, but there's a twist. You want to tell us about that?
Yes. So our main focus is helping people find legitimate work from home jobs, but also in that our nonprofit focuses on those who live with mental illness.
Mm,
So we do a lot of empowerment and a lot of coaching and a lot of helping in that arena, mixed and coupled with helping them to find a legit remote career.
now that's an amazing, I help business owners and individuals if they're trying to start a business or maximize their business. And I tell you, when you hear someone's mission and it sounds like that, oh my gosh, right? Let's see if I got this right. Work from home. And if you have some issues that keep you from getting the traditional work, right? You guys
Yeah.
are doing the coaching and empowerment and helping people get past that stigma
Yes.
and the limitation.
Yes, and placing and getting them into a job placement. And our focus is really long lasting because a lot of people that suffer from mental illness they leave jobs often
Mm,
because they can't handle the brick and mortar environment, and a lot of times brick and mortar companies don't exactly understand when someone is having a mental health issue.
mm-hmm,
And then there's also that embarrassment that comes with that. Many people feel embarrassed to even explain
mm.
to their employer, particularly those in the Black and Brown community, but that's just all the way around. People in the Black and Brown community typically don't like to talk about it, period. So, especially not to their employer. So, we really want to kind of make that normalize. And we partner with companies who are okay and want to normalize that to place people with those companies.
And there was something very powerful that you said the other day. And as a marketing guy, it struck me, and I thought you have got to put this on some kind of, letterhead, right? And you says working from home. Now, guys, everybody listening to this, Working from home saved my life. Now I
Yes.
can spin that so many different ways, right? And oh my gosh, but what power that sentence has. Oh my God, it had an impact on me immediately, right? And I started a podcast a couple of years ago. Now I've done, two or three other ones since then, but I started a podcast called Earn Every Dime Online. And it's because I really wanted people to get flexibility in their life, to be able to take their job, if you will, or how to earn money anywhere they went. Right. But one of the main pushes was because traditional 9 to 5 leaves a lot to be desired. It doesn't always pull out of you all that you are. So I says, earn every dime online. And I literally left the 9 to 5 comfortable environment, nice salary, right? I had a nice title and says, well, I got to be about it. So
Yes.
how can I now go out and learn to earn every dime online and then teach others? And that's what I've been doing, starting podcasts, creating digital assets, digital real estate, online properties, right? So when I heard your mission that, hey, listen, work from home, it saved my life. It just stopped me cold. Tell us a little bit about how working from home saved your life.
Well, I am someone who lives with mental illness, and I was someone who was in brick and mortar jobs. And I also have a mother who is um, autoimmune compromised. She's pretty
Mm,
sick, and when I was younger, she wasn't sick. My mother wasn't sick when I was younger. She became sick. And she became sick at about the age of 16. When she became sick, I had to drop out of school and I had to immediately start working because I was the only breadwinner in the house. Well,
mhm,
the problem with that is that I started to become very depressed and started to deal with depression. And so I was losing jobs and not able to maintain the household, and lights were getting cut off and
mhm,
gas was getting cut off and everything was getting cut off around me. And we were losing homes and having to move and being homeless and going through all of that stuff because the typical brick and mortar jobs, I couldn't keep them because I would have these long bouts of depression where
mhm,
I could barely like get up and go into work. And so discovering work from home saved my life because it saved everything around me. It gave me stability and it gave me hope and it gave me that long lasting career that I needed. And the work from home companies that I worked for, they didn't necessarily have to be understanding because all I would have
mhm.
to do is pretty much roll out of bed and start working. It wasn't this preparation thing. I didn't have all this anxiety around it.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, and then also with the transportation issue and not being able to get back and forth. And I didn't have any of that. Sometimes when you deal with anxiety, because that's one of the mental things that I deal with
Mhm,
is anxiety, is that just the thought of things being too overwhelming can keep you from doing that,
mhm,
from doing what you want to do. And so I was kind of dealing with a lot of just the thoughts overwhelming me, like just the thought of I have to get up, I have to get ready, I have to try to find a ride in a place there, and
mhm,
then have to try to find a ride in a place back, and then I have to deal with coworkers that may not like me, and I was just overwhelming myself before I even got into the work environment. But when I discovered working from home and I started working from home, a lot of that stuff was eliminated. So I couldn't even kind of, put all this pressure on myself in the first place.
Wow, what an incredible story. And I love a business that starts out of trying to solve one's own problems, right? And whatever that is, problem, when they talk about starting a business, one of the main things they say is discover a problem, find out if what you're offering is a solution to it, and then go and say, hey, my solution is the best, better than all the rest. Right?
Yes.
So in your particular case, and why I love businesses that start because they're solving their own problems, is because, listen, whether you want this or not, I need this. I'm
Yeah.
starting this because I have a situation that I'm overcoming. And it's like when I talk about earning every dime online, it's like, look, my situation goes back to when I was taking care of a parent that was dying. And it was like all hands on deck. And I was the only child that could do it. And I tell you, it takes a lot out of you, especially watching a parent die, or someone that your a loved one die, I mean, go through all that. And I says, man, I have to figure out a way to earn outside of the traditional 9 to 5. I was solving my own problem,
Yeah.
right? And now when the two of us coming together like this is just fortuitous, because now, and I apologize for using the big words out there, it just drops into my head, right? My degrees didn't save me, right? All the degrees, all the money I spent on going to school, it didn't save me, because guess what? A lot of companies want you to be able to come into their brick and mortar building. And you're like, but I can't. I have a higher calling now. I have a higher responsibility now. I've got to take care of my mom. So I left. I was literally living in North Carolina and working for a company, and I told them I got to go. So now it's your savings and trying to figure it out. So I says I got to figure this out for anybody that is going to be in this situation. Now this was 3 years prior to pandemic time. So imagine that, right? You're talking to people saying, "Hey, let me show you how to earn every dime online. Let me show you how to
Right.
make all the," and they're like, "Get out of here, man. I got a nice job. It's got a little pension thing going. I got some insurance with it and all that." And I'm like, "Wait a minute. It's best to prepare now." Now, this was 3 years before pandemic. And all of a sudden, pandemic hits and everybody's scrambling, trying to figure out how they can earn some money. And I'm going, I've been telling you, right? So let's come on in. And I've been getting a lot of people that are saying, okay, show me from beginning to end, how do I earn all of my money online? And then I just show them, hey, let me tell you some of the things and mistakes I've made and all that kind of stuff. So that is us solving our own problems. So if you guys are listening to this and you're able to get a couple of nuggets from this stuff, we're going to go a little deeper. I want to get into some details. What was the first company that you started? If you don't want to say the name, that's fine. But if it was a company you started, or how were you able to grab something that you can work from home? And I assume this was pre-pandemic as well.
Yes, I started working from home 8 years ago. So it was
8 years.
very much pre-pandemic. And I think the first company that I ever worked for was a company called Working Solutions, still around. Anybody can go and sign up to work for them. And they are just a customer service based hourly position. I think they pay $10 to $15 an hour. And yeah, so they're like an online marketplace, really, because they kind of connect you to employers that are hiring. And I really enjoyed it. It was like my first introduction into working from home, and it was a pretty good position, I would say.
And that's cool, right? When you can, I tell you, I get so much done. I work from the home office, and then every now and then I have a remote office that I go over to. It's actually my wife's office, and I go over there and says, "Okay, you're leaving at 5. I'm going to come in and do some stuff because I've been stuck in the house," right?
Yeah.
But that becomes a great opportunity when you have to, and when you're able to stay at home. I get so much. I mean, all the clothes are usually done, right? Folded, washed, folded, and I don't mind saying that, guys. Don't hate on me, right? I'm a well-rounded dude, right? Food is on the table, the whole deal. Because guess what? We have the flexibility, because we're working from home, to just, like you said, roll out of bed. And I tell people, I says, look, I don't believe in insomnia anymore. Why? Because if you're up, you can work. We have our computers in front of us. We have sometimes our work duties, depending on who you're working for. You can just jump in and go to work. You get sleepy at 10 o'clock, no problem. Take a nap.
Right.
The flexibility in this case of earning every dime online, in your case, just working from home. Oh my God, it's right there in front of us. What has been some of the responses from people when you introduce this ideal of working from home? Probably easier now because it's pandemic time.
Yes.
Everybody's got Zoom. But prior to that, you said 8 years.
Right. I When I first started working from home, people really didn't understand it. They thought that, I was, even when I would talk to them about legitimate work from home jobs or opportunities, they would think that I was trying to scam them or sell them some kind of MLM or something like that. And it's just, you're just clocking into work like you normally do.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
nothing too crazy. But yeah, a lot of my experience is just people really not believing what I do or thinking that I um, have the ability to just kind of like leave work and like go and do things outside
Yeah,
of the
yeah.
house. But the jobs that I was working, you don't really have the ability to just like log off and just like leave because you are on a set schedule.
Hmm.
It's very similar to the brick and mortar world. Other than, you don't have the commute and you don't have the extra stuff that you have to pay for, like gas and not all the extra stress because you don't have a lot of coworkers that you
Right.
have to deal with. And generally, your bosses are very lenient in, what you can do. So,
So you can literally have no gas to pay, no car if you didn't want one,
right.
right? So let's add this up, everybody. If you're listening to this, let's add up. No gas, no car. That means no insurance,
Yeah.
right? And now we got scooters everywhere. If you live in the Grand Rapids proper, you got these little you got Bird and you got Spin.
Yeah.
You just jump on one of those things if you need to go downtown
Right.
to a meeting. And now, because of pandemic times, people are meeting on Zoom and going, you know what, this is working out. I was reading about huge major company. I can't remember if it was Google or Yahoo, or not Yahoo, but can't remember who it was. But they were saying, hey, through 2021, people can stay at home. I had read about Airbnb, who was going to have, was it Airbnb, who was going to buy this huge building, right? And it was going to cost them millions of dollars, of course. And they says, you know what? We're good.
Yeah.
We're not going to buy, I think it was Airbnb. They were going to get a new headquarters, right? And they says, we're not going to buy this building simply because we're going to, you know, keep doing with this work from home, with our folks
Yeah.
working from home. They got all the equipment to do it. They can handle it. And now it's become just, remote central. And this is like you're saying, yeah, I've been doing this for 7 some odd years, 8 years, right?
Yep.
No big deal for me. Has that changed how you talk to people? Or it's obviously a little easier for you to have that conversation?
It's so much easier to talk to people about it now, just because they're realizing that, this is not anything too crazy. This is normal. There's so many companies that do this, and so many companies that are making the transition that didn't do it before, or companies that before had some, pushback with it, who've been asked and had some serious pushback, and they're realizing now that it's easy to integrate my employees into this work from home world. So it's a much easier conversation. Back then, we were back in 2000 and what 16, we were at 300 members in my online community, and so
And will you share that with us? The online community, what's the name of it?
yeah. So the name of our community is Legitimate Work from Home. Legitimate work from home jobs, and then it is a brand, so it has 5 subgroups. The main group is legitimate work from home jobs discussion, and then we have legitimate work from home jobs advanced, and that's for our people that want to make over $30,000 a year. So that's $30,000 a year and up for the advanced group. We have the legitimate work from home jobs um, public group. That's our group that's open to anybody. Anybody can see anything
Hmm.
that's posted in that group without having to join it. Um, and then we have our legitimate work from home jobs, very newbies. And that's where we teach people that are very new how to work from home, and kind of that's like a coaching kind of group. That's, when we get down to the real nitty gritty of kind of like coaching them into um, the work from home world. And then we have legitimate work from home jobs community. And that's our 5th group. And that's the group that we use to kind of have like this strong sense of community. So everybody in there helps each other beyond working from home. So,
That's so
uh,
cool.
you can post fundraisers in there and stuff like that. So everybody in that community is really committed to going above and beyond and kind of getting down to the personal of things. So
Mm.
those are the 5 groups that we have under the Legit Work From Home Jobs brand.
So think about this, everybody. When anytime you're saying, "Oh my gosh, that's too much," no, it's not. Somebody was saying, "Well, you have 4 podcasts. That's too much." And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Would we say this of an actor or an actress? All right, hey, you're in too many movies, or a director that directs different movies, or a producer that produces different movies. No, we wouldn't say that. We would say, "Oh my gosh, they're prolific."
Yes.
That becomes the opportunity, right? When it's just a matter of looking at things a little differently. Now imagine the skill set that you're building by doing so many things. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand the concept of focus for results. I get that sometimes, and I get a little anxious, and I get a little, oh my gosh, where am I at today? Right. But when you have the opportunity to learn, and because you can do it in the freedom of your own home, on your own time, you now have the chance to become all that you can be. And this is what I
Yes.
suggest to people all the time. You don't have one conversation when you show up to people and they say, man, that guy's talking about the same old thing. So why would you just do one thing? This becomes this situation. People that were doing one thing, guess what? Now that one thing goes away, and I've experienced that. I've been on the other end of working for a
Mhm.
company for a long time, and it goes away. And you're looking
Yes.
around like, now what do I do? My skill set was directed just toward that company. Now what? And that's when, that's when I started creating things, right? Digital products, creating,
Yeah.
the digital real estate and online properties, started getting into that. And then I started thinking, wait a minute, how can I show other people this same type of skill building? And now when you were saying that legitimate, I love the branding, by the way, right? Everything's branded legitimate.
Right.
So
Yeah.
we're saying that right at the top. This is legit.
Yeah.
And then you now are, legitimate work from home. How is it that what inspired you to have so many different groups? Now, from my perspective, I can kind of see it, but let's just explain it to everybody else. Why all of the different, let's call them portals and
Yes.
ways.
With the different portals, it just allows us to address very specific things.
Mm.
And we have, like, in our main group has, right now, I think it's at like 91,000 members. So that's the big one. And we kind of use the
Is that the
big one.
legitimate work from home
Yeah, the legitimate work from home. Actually,
jobs?
it's legit work from home. I'm sorry, legit work from home jobs discussion. That's the biggest one.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep. And that one has, like I said, that one has 91,000 members in it. And we kind of used that group to funnel the rest of our groups. As we were seeing people come into our group and ask for very specific things, we wanted to make sure that their very specific things they were asking for were addressed and that they had their own special communities where we can, help them uh, on a one-on-one personal
Hmm.
level with exactly what they were asking for. So as we got popularity in certain things, we kind of created subgroups off of those.
Yeah, and that's great to see. Now, see what's possible, everybody, when you hear this and you go, well, I don't know what to do. Well, jump in one of these groups. They talk about this when I'm doing some advising on how to find your thing, right? If I'm going to be helping you, whether it's monetize your life, or I'm going to be saying, okay, let's go and find that thing for you, then you can jump into some of these groups and just kind of see what other people are doing, right? And you say to yourself, well, you know what? That seems interesting. You don't go and copy it or steal it, but you can model yourself. You can model. We get inspired by so many different things. And if you can get inspired by what you're seeing someone else do, and you go, wait a minute, I've got those kind of skill sets. Maybe I've gone to school, or you've got the school of life,
Yes.
right? That is guiding you. And then let's have a conversation. I can show you how to now take that and monetize it, create something for your very own. And what Sheri could do is obviously say, hey, listen, I can show you areas, places who hire for that skill set, that talent. And, this is not, you're not a temporary agency, right? You're not branded yourself as that. Am I correct on that? Or,
Yes, we definitely are, definitely not for temporary positions, but we also promote temporary positions because some people just need temporary. So we don't necessarily knock that, but we are branded for long lasting,
mhm, mhm.
jobs or careers.
And that's good because I tell people, I says, listen, I remember when I worked for the Grand Rapids Urban League and I was their director of employment. And I would tell people, they were like, oh man, a temporary job. I says, look, what is it that you're trying to get from any job? I just take them through a little discussion. They would say, well, income. Okay. And if you could get income, what would you do with the money? Oh, I do this and that. Okay. Well, whether that job is permanent or temporary, it gives you income.
Yes.
It gives you an opportunity, right? It gives you a chance to now utilize and leverage the income that you got. And I would tell them, this is what changed everything, right? And I mean, our big job was to get people into permanent situations too. But in the meantime, get the income from it so you can leverage yourself a little bit better, get yourself a little ride if you need to, whatever it is, right? And I would say oftentimes, hey, listen, think about going to different situations, learning new processes, meeting new people. And if you did have some kind of opportunity, some kind of job, some kind of thing that you were doing on the side, now you're not just talking to the same people for the next 3 years. You got all of these people that you can introduce to whatever it is you're doing. You got these new processes, new skills that you can build. Oh my God. Then it changed everything because they
Yes.
were looking at what they were going to as, wait a minute, this is like a gold mine. Absolutely. I get a chance to, constantly find out how I can do and apply whatever I know to this new situation. Absolutely. You're building skill. So don't be afraid of the temporary situation,
Yes.
right?
Well, and to be clear about that, we started out as a 1099 group. So 1099 is an independent contractor. We started out as an independent contractor group because I really wasn't interested in remaking the wheel. And we already had several work from home groups that were focused on W-2 positions. So we started out as a gig work contractor um, kind of temporary position group. And then we transitioned to being it being about both because that's what our group members asked for. But yeah, so we started out with that mindset, um, and we only provided jobs that were temporary and gig work.
So, who is the main researcher that's always going out there into the marketplace and finding these gigs? I think
That
it's
would
you,
be
isn't it?
me. Yes,
That
that would be
consummate
me.
learner.
But we do have 15 moderators, and they're also committed to that. So they do quite a good job with doing that research also. But they've been trained by me.
That's really funny. I've been looking at YouTube channels because, when obviously you're doing this yourself, making your own money and looking at, ways to market and looking at just different ways to get your message out there, you, of course, try to find the best ways possible, right? And then when video started kind of blowing up, I started thinking, wait a minute, all right, let me find someone that I can model, right? So I'm seeing all of these folks on YouTube that are just crushing the game. And what I noticed, the ones that seem to get the most views and the most engagement are the YouTube channels that are showing people different places to work, different ways to earn money, right? And you're talking about from a gig standpoint, different gigs you can do. Hey, this will make you $200. Click. All right.
Yeah,
I'm clicking on this
yeah,
will make you $300 a day. This is $1,000 a week. And so it seems similar to what you're doing in terms of showing people how they can. Right. And
yes,
why I love doing the work that I do is because when I show somebody how to monetize their life when they hadn't thought about it in that particular way, it changes everything. They see me coming. They know I'm going to be, hey, I found a new thing, right? This will
Yes.
help you earn a couple of bucks. Do you get that same kind of response? I would assume you do because you told me that you were growing at a massive clip, like what, 2,500 people a week, something like that?
Yeah, we grow at a 2,500 members a week,
And that's with no
and
ads or anything.
no ads, no advertising.
Wow.
We actually don't even ask our group members to share. We usually ask our group members, well, we ask our group members to share when we need to reach a milestone. So that's the only time that we ask our group members to
Mhm.
invite their friends or share the group. I actually don't even promote the group in my personal Facebook page. So
Wow.
it's not really promoted anywhere, but it is growing organically at 2,500 members a week.
So tell me, are there some tools just for our people out there? As entrepreneurs, we like to keep our tools to ourselves, right? But sometimes, when people are listening for those nuggets, those things that just drop out, those pearls, if you could share, are there some ways that you are, even in the organic, how are you getting such great organic reach through these? Now, are these all Facebook groups?
Yes, these are all Facebook groups.
How are you getting such great organic reach? I see the title, the name is one, right? And people probably
Yes.
naturally share them.
Yes, absolutely.
Are there other tools that you're using, by way?
The main tool that I use is engagement. I engage a lot with the group members. I'm probably in there every other day, engaging with them and asking them questions and
Mm-hmm.
asking how we can improve the group, what we can do to make their lives easier, how we can help them with working from home, and then being very intentional about making sure to respond to questions, and once they see that there's somebody that's, a actual human that's running this group that cares about them,
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
they're more willing to share because they're like they want to bring their friends into this caring and trusting and loving environment. And I think that that's the most important part, is kind of creating that space where people feel really comfortable, because usually when you have a friend that you really like, you want to share that friend with other people. You
Mm-hmm.
want to, like, you're happy to introduce them to another friend, or happy to introduce them to, even when you're at an event, for example, and you
Mm-hmm.
have a friend that's like the coolest person you've ever met, and you're at an event, you want to introduce that
Hey, you got to
person to
meet so and
everybody.
so.
Yeah, right. So it's all about creating that environment in the work from home or in the group setting or community
Yeah.
setting
Yeah.
where people want to introduce you to other people. Like, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about the group. Like, a lot of the people that share in my group, they don't really necessarily, they're not sharing the group because they think the group is so great. They're sharing the group because our community, they feel like our sense of community that we created is so great.
That's good
um,
stuff.
and so many that are in our group aren't even looking for jobs. Like, they're they're just in there to interact with other people
Sure.
and,
Yeah.
have that sense of, that community vibe. A lot of them have found their, work from home jobs and from the group and have been in there for many, many years, but they stay in the group to help others. So
That is wonderful. I love that sharing idea, especially as a man. And I say this from the standpoint of, because we like to, swing for the fences. When
right.
we're out there trying to earn a living, we're like, look, I need home runs and I gotta feed my people. Whereas I've noticed, and this is what I when I talk about my wife's group, Hook a Sister Up, right? And Hasu over there, she is so diligent about getting in her groups every single day, talking with her group members and stuff like that, right? And I told her about you and told her about your group, and she wants to meet you.
Oh, I would love
Yeah.
that.
And so she said, I says, well, Hook a Sister Up, and what they do would be a awesome hookup. And she literally says, hey, yeah, I want to meet her because I really, and I was telling her a little bit about what you do, how you're growing and stuff like that. And she says, I'd like to, you know, see if there's some bread we can break, if you will, virtual bread, by the way,
Yes.
some virtual bread that we can break. So I'm going to be talking with, connecting you guys. But if you guys are out there hearing this and you are struggling to grow your group, just listen to what Sheri just said. Hey, I'm engaging. Is this like that becomes then your full time job? You got five subgroups, or
Yes.
one main and four subgroups.
Yes. So the way that I
Is
do
it
the
all of them?
subgroups, Yes, so we have one main and then four subgroups. And the way that I do the groups is I have somebody who's the head of those groups.
Mhm.
So the subgroup. So I'm the main group, and then there's somebody that's the head of those subgroups, and they do the same thing. They engage really strongly in the members and, make sure that they're posting, but that's considered their group for them to
Mm.
run. And then they have their own moderators, but then all the moderators meet together. So all the moderators are in the same group. We have our own group for the
Mhm.
moderators. So all the moderators are in the same group, but they also mod the different subgroups. So that's how we do that.
So walk us through a typical 8 hour day for you. Is it first thing you do, you get up and you log in, you hit your emails, and you jump right in the group saying, I found something else?
Unfortunately, yes. Yes, that's the first thing that I do when I wake up. Get up, get dressed, get into the group, see what's going on in there, answer any questions that people may have had that were unanswered. We have a really great tool that tells us, if there's any unanswered posts in the group. So I get in there, I look at the tool, see if we have unanswered posts. I get in there and answer those posts.
Mm.
Um, and then, I think of some kind of content to post in there, like what can I do to help the current members. Right now, I'm focusing on the newbie group, which we just created uh, a few days ago. And that one hit 400 members. So we're just going to keep that 400 members for now, until we kind of coach those newbies and get them into work from home jobs. And then we'll start adding more people and
Gosh,
do it
how
again.
cool is that? You start a group, and in a couple of days, it jumps to 400 members, right? It's
Yes.
got to be kind of addicting, if you will. And let's say, use that in a good way of starting things like this.
It is. It is. It's so cool to see them grow. And the crazy thing is with the subgroups, sometimes I'm actually surprised when I go in and look at the membership in those, because I don't really focus so much on those. But when I go and look in there, and it's like 5,000 members when it was like 1,000 members like a
Mhm.
month ago, I'm like, what happened in here? I didn't think this group was going to grow like this.
Wow, and that's all just because of some of the not the tools, but the engagement. And
Yes.
I would assume that the name you've branded it very, very well. So let me just give you some dap on that, right?
Yeah.
Some claps on that. And I think it happens to be a time too, right? So
Yes.
timing matters. So you guys are out there thinking about how can I create, how can I earn, every dime online, or how can I find these legitimate work from home jobs. Timing matters a bit too, right? Right now,
Yes.
people are looking for ways that they can stay their butt at home so they can watch, Junior and Juniorette, right? So they can watch Junior and Juliet. Let's just put it like that. Because things have changed in our lives, our responsibilities have changed. Have you seen a big growth curve since the pandemic?
Yes. We grew by 20,000 members since the pandemic. So yes, we did see a big increase in our membership over this current year in the last few months. Yeah, so it was a pretty rapid growth.
Mhm.
Um, and we're still dealing with rapid growth, and especially now, as we're seeing people are starting to get kicked off of their unemployment because the unemployment's running
Yeah,
out and it's not renewing. We're seeing a lot of more people start to want to join all of the groups. So we're getting
yeah.
another big rush again.
And the great thing about, and we talk about this all the time, when you can create the no additional marginal cost business. Okay, guys, I'm getting ready to drop some of the education stuff on you, but this is what the one of the things I learned from college, right? Probably the only couple things I remember from college is that when you create something that you can do, just you create it once, and then it is expands. It has the capability of expanding organically, like you're talking about. Or if you start running ads, that would just be nuts.
Yeah,
Right? You would grow so
I've been
crazy.
afraid to run ads. Like I tell people all the time, I don't run ads because I'm too afraid to run ads. I think that it would just be too much.
Yeah, and you be working two full-time jobs. So
Right.
that becomes the opportunity. And when we had originally met, that's what I said. So do you realize the gold mine that you're sitting on? And you said, I kind of know. Yep. Yep. I do kind of know. But, and then I'm saying, well, get your pickaxe out, lady. Right. Because that becomes an opportunity, especially in the space that you're in. You have such a tremendous opportunity to help people, and it appears as if you've got things set up, you've got people, the moderators, all of that kind of stuff. I want people to hear this and be able to go, oh, I see how. And I would assume that when it was just you, maybe you and a partner, that you at times felt a little overwhelmed, but again, because you work from home, you can go take a nap,
Right.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
How
And
did you grow it then to get it to 90,000, and the subgroups, multiple thousands? Were you in it at first, just doing everything, wearing all the hats?
yes, absolutely. I was the only moderator. So I was really wearing all the hats, doing all of everything, adding the members, talking to the members, answering questions, making sure that scams and bad posts don't get through. And that was for a while. I did that for a while in the group until I realized that there were some members in my group that were very active and they could be moderators. And so I
So
did
you
the
invited
ask.
them, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, could you watch this? I know when I started the African American Mentoring Network, Amen, and I had to push a couple of people out, right? Because they just wanted to spam the group, and then some people were worried about that, right? They were saying, I don't want to join another group that is all they're going to do is send their next thing that they're doing, all this kind of stuff. So I had to go out and talk to a good friend of mine and says, hey man, could you, kind of take a look at this? It's really, really small right now. I want to grow it slow. But now hearing how you're just exploding got me all juiced up and fired up, right? And again, this is what you're going to find, everybody, if you're listening to this. You find that you have someone that is doing thing at a very high level, right? Don't get jealous, right? Or if you do, just let it pass, and then say, how are they doing it? Right. And then, don't handicap yourself by saying, well, they do this, they have a head start. No, model it, right?
Yes.
Think about how Kobe Bryant modeled Michael Jordan. I mean, he used to wag his tongue the same way. It was what didn't they have? They had the same number. Come on. And then but he would practice his tail off. He used some of the same things that got Michael to the level that he got to, the championships, everything, right? And it drove him nuts that other people around him wouldn't do the same thing. I would assume that when you see people or somebody's coming to you for advice, right? Because I know you got a consulting business outside of that.
Hmm.
I know you build WordPress websites for folks and stuff like that. I don't know if I want to, advertise that. Don't be calling her if she don't say it's okay. But I would assume that when you see people not do things in a way that that works, it must drive you nuts. And I don't mean that in a derisive sense. Let me use a different word. It must just make you kind of be disappointed.
It does. But my first thing is to go to them and offer a solution to that problem,
Mm.
or find a solution myself to that problem and kind of put it out there to the world. So usually when I see someone doing something that I'm like, oh no, um, like I'm in a group right now because I currently run the nonprofit, but I'm in a group right now for Blacks in nonprofit, and I see in there all the time people that are just like, how do I get my LLC and start my nonprofit? Well, obviously LLC and nonprofit really doesn't coincide with each other,
Yeah.
and that you would get a corporation instead of a LLC. And I was seeing that all the time, and I was thinking, oh, that's so frustrating. They don't really know how to, start. And so I started to make a lot of posts, about like where to start with your nonprofit. How do you get started? These are the paperwork that you need to file.
Mhm.
It's not an LLC, and not talking down to that person, but kind of creating that space for them to learn. And whenever I see something like that, at first, I always go, oh, no, don't do that. but that I always think, okay, well, how can I, get this information out to people so that we can do it the right way?
Right. And so that you don't come off. I know I'm in a group too, same way. And I was in there and I was I given some pretty what I thought was pretty, well researched years of doing stuff kind of advice. And then you got somebody come in and go, no, you don't do that. You do this. And then you kind of look at what that person's selling or presenting or what they're about, and it's through just that lens. You see what I mean? So
Yes.
in one particular case, it was a virtual assistant. I says, well, you can scale and grow your business very rapidly by doing this, this, and this. And then the virtual assistant says, no, you want to come in and you want to, hire someone like me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
So and I've actually left groups so I didn't get in a fight. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because you just kind of want to respond to that, right?
Yep.
And then, you're the know-it-all in the group and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
how do you avoid doing that with all that all that you've created? And you're saying, look, I've got, hundreds of thousands of members, or I'm working toward that. I know how to build stuff. And then somebody comes in and maybe goes, maybe you do it this way. How do you just not go in on them?
The thing is that I am so different from many work or not many work from home groups, but many groups and communities on Facebook, period.
Mhm,
And the way that I have grown things organically is so untaught, and seems so unreachable for many of the people that are gurus in the online community or the Facebook group world.
mhm,
And they all teach that you should pay for ads, that you should, um, grow your group by, paying for something or paying someone to help you grow.
mhm,
That's the widely taught thing. So I am always getting pushback about telling people, just give your group the content that it needs. And I've had people tell me you give too much information in your group.
mhm.
You're giving out too much information for free.
Yeah,
But I'm like,
givers are like that. I
right,
can't tell you how many times people say, I can't believe you're just giving me all this, right? I says, look, jump on my Calendly. I used to do a whole day. Get this, Cherie. I used to do a whole day where all I would do is just give it away, right? And I called it Work for the World Wednesdays.
oh, I love that.
And Work for the World Wednesdays was, I dropped my Calendly link and says, any questions that you have, just go ahead and jump on my Calendly, right? And people were just blown away by all the stuff I gave away. I mean, this was when I had a remote office at another building. I would just say, all right, come on in. Here's open hours, right? This is when we could still, actually have people come in
Right.
without testing them like crazy. And they would come in, sit down. Oh, hey, I need to learn how to, start this podcast. Okay, well, I've got four podcasts. I know here, start here. Here's you can be doing this by the weekend, and just give it all away. And then here's some ways to monetize, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? Just give it away. Man, I used to kind of get pushback from people that care about me saying, stop giving it all away, bro. And start earning. That's when I started building, the websites, landing pages, and saying, okay, all right,
Yep.
building the digital products. It says, okay, if you want to pay me, go online and say, this guy is dope. You want to go and hang out with him. He's going to give you a lot of stuff. And then you go over here to, my pages and buy some stuff so I can continue to do this for free.
Yes.
And you seem to be like me in that you're always learning something new
Yes.
and then saying, hey, everybody, look what I found.
Right.
Right? We just get excited about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, do you have some like main sources of areas that you go? If you want to share with the audience, some of the places that you go and get inspired, and then go, wait a minute, this I could use and share with the group. You have like
I
I use All
actually
Top. There's so many different places that you can go.
Yeah, so I actually use other work from home groups or other groups on Facebook. I spend a lot of time in other groups. like utilizing some of the free trainings and stuff that they have in there. I get ads on Facebook all the time for training, so that's where I find a lot of my training. I use sites like Reddit. Most
Oh
people
yeah.
don't. They kind of sleep on Reddit, but people on Reddit give information like crazy.
Quora is another one.
Yep. Yes.
Oh my
Yep.
gosh, and Quora is funny. They'll give you a little bit and then they'll say you need to sign up. Come on
Right.
now.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, YouTube. Um, Lots of amazing, great content on YouTube. And people just kind of like just give you everything on there. So,
Oh my gosh, on my new YouTube channel, that's something that somebody told me, says, "Man, your videos are long, but gosh, you just drop everything on them."
yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah." So get your 20 minutes, get your 40 minutes of good stuff. It says people only want to watch 10 minutes. It says, well, here's if you want to go extra. And I used to not even ask, like, hey, subscribe to the channel. Now I've gotten a little more savvy by saying, hey, look, subscribe to the channel. I'm on here all the time, dropping good content. Use it if you choose. Like the preachers say, take what you need,
Yes.
because this is 44 minutes of me just doing some stuff. And I started kind of changing some of the how I name stuff, doing some things that is helping it grow. And now it's growing like crazy. So, but when you do this, we know we've got to keep the lights on,
Yes.
right? So eventually we've got to create things that actually we can present. Is that where you do when you're doing your WordPress, building sites for
Yes.
people? And
Yeah. And
maybe
then
you have some other consulting as well?
right. So we have a consulting company, which actually encompasses the WordPress and the website building and business management and entertainment management and all that stuff. But I also work a regular 9 to 5 work from home job. So I do
That's
practice
amazing.
what I preach. So, except for I do a third shift work from home job, so I come in at 10 and work till 6. So, but yeah, I have a regular job, I have the nonprofit, and I have the business, and the groups kind of all coincide together. So
Then you've got a couple of management tools, right? That helps you manage all of the groups and the subgroups, right?
yes, yes. So we use Convo Insight, and it helps us to uh, well, they have a tool that tells us when to post, when's the most engaging. They have a tool that tells us if we missed a post, like if a post went unanswered, and they give us the ability to post in all of our groups all at once. So we have all of our groups in one place. It's easily
That
able
is
to post
so
on them,
cool.
and it tells us when is the most engaging in our group and when the best time to post. So
And see, so if you guys are listening to this now, you can be hard headed if you want and try to go out there and listen to the gurus. Don't get me wrong, you can take snippets from the gurus, but sometimes they're just trying to sell you something. Or you can listen to somebody that has proven to know how to grow groups, right? Just a couple of tools and you,
yeah,
right? In fact, let me write that down because that sounded pretty good.
yeah,
A
I like
couple of tools and you.
that. Yeah.
A couple of tools in you. So now the you part of this, you can't take yourself out of the equation all the way. Even if you're listening to Sheri and she's saying, hey, listen, I've got moderators. I do some things, you know what I mean? And they're engaged because they're about the business. They believe in it. And you notice these people from their engagement.
Yes.
So if they're constantly being engaged in your group, then you go, wait a minute, let's give them some responsibility, right?
Yes.
And hopefully from that, then they have a sense of accomplishment because they know that they're helping literally grow the group. And I'm pretty sure you're giving them kudos and
Yes.
handshakes and some gifts or whatever, right?
Yeah, we definitely try to thank our mods every chance that we get because they really are the ones that are really putting in a lot of work. And they're all volunteer, and they don't really get anything out of it except for a thank you from us. So they're really quite incredible people, and they actually love to help others and love to be
That's good
um,
stuff.
interacting in the group.
That's good. So you guys hear that Reddit, right? Go on Reddit. Reddit is an interesting platform. Sometimes you hear some stuff and you're like, dude, that what does that have to do with anything, right?
Right.
I mean, what rabbit hole am I going down
Yeah,
right
you got to
now?
be careful on Reddit
Oh
too,
my God.
because you
And
can get
they can
into
be
some
kind of
stuff.
addicting too, right? Because you're
Right.
if you are, and if you guys are listening to this right now, think about this. Now, if you're spending a whole lot of time in the groups and you're not taking that information and leveraging it so that you can help your groups, then you're doing yourself a disservice. It's like just watching TV and not going, how can I leverage that? All right. And I got some courses that when I'm teaching people this stuff, right? Whether it's
Yeah.
emails, how do you can, turn your emails that you get these annoying emails into income. And then and I'm building that out right now because I'm getting so many emails. I'm thinking this is just gold. And
Yes.
then I remember doing a couple of YouTube um, uh, posts, and I said, I just watched the movie, and from that movie, I got 4 to 5 ideas that I can turn into income. Here's how you watch a movie,
Right.
right? And it was like crazy engagement from that because it was like, now this is stuff that I'm normally doing, and that says,
Yes.
well, I'm the monetize your life guy. This is what I do: is show you how to take the things that you're already doing, you hadn't even thought about it, and now say, how can I be inspired by this? And you're saying, hey, look, you look at Reddit, do you look at Quora at all?
I do, very rarely, but I do look at them, but only when I have like little things that pop up in my search.
See, and then YouTube, tons and tons of stuff, right? And then look at this. She's supplementing her income with a 9 to 5 job
Yeah.
or a 10 to 6 or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Can't we do some of those same things because we're working from home? And you think about it, you don't have to travel out. You don't have to go shovel any snow, right? It's like, man, I got to go to this third. And I've worked third shift. I've worked first shift. I've worked
Yep.
factories. I've worked for, corporate, done it all,
Mm.
right? In my short time on this earth. And I can tell you, you find the thing that works best for you. You leverage it. You figure out how it can work for you. It might be the third shift situation, right? But you just roll out of bed and do your work. And then you
Yes.
take a nap. And then you've got the rest of the day at home, or if you go to a remote office to do some of the rest of the stuff. Tell me you can do it. I mean, don't tell me you can't do it, because we're going to tell you, Sheri and I are going to tell you,
You
yes, you can.
can.
You
You
have to
can.
just structure things. You've got to leverage people that care about what you've created, right?
Yes.
And then
Use
when,
your people. That's what I always tell people in my group.
mhm.
Use your people. When you are trying to figure out how to work from home with kids, use your people. Not everybody has people, but everybody can find people. So,
What an
so
awesome potential group, how to work from home with kids.
yes,
I would do a
I really needed to create that a long time ago because so many of the people in our group are moms and dads
I
and
would see the engagement. Now, this is, advice time, right? I would see the engagement that you get from that. And then that becomes, now listen, if you guys are listening into on this, right, this mastermind time, then think about this. If you put a post out there and it gets very, very popular, right? And people are engaging, you're engaging with it, and the algorithm kicks on and it says, hey, look, there's something here. They will show it to other folks. And then
yes,
now you may have that idea for the thing you can start, right? It
yes,
doesn't cost you anything to start that group. Come on now.
yes,
And if that group member, if you invite folks in, right, and you say, hey, listen, this is what we're talking about, and then you get in there and you start talking about it with the fervor, right? Now you get that organic growth because people says, I want to be a part of what they're doing. Then it grows, right? Then you get your moderators, right? Then you get people to help, like you say, you utilize your folks, the talents of them, their
yes,
interests and stuff like that, because you're being of service to them as well. The information. Now you got to do some work, right? You do
yes,
some work by
absolutely.
going out there finding good things to talk about. I'll give you an example, and it's very difficult for me to read certain magazines and all that kind of stuff simply because the idea engine will go too much, right? It'll start and it's like, oh, you combine this with that, and then this could be this, and now you got another thing you could be doing, right? So that
Right.
when remember, for you learners out there, right? You constant and consummate learners out there, that's a part of the thing. So you now have to find a way that you can say, how can I take what I just exposed myself to here and now be, transfer it to my group. That's why I tell
Yeah.
people that's why we want you starting stuff, because now you can pour what you've just got inside of you, right? Inside your mind, inside your heart, and you can pour it into something that can then could be a benefit to somebody else. Give it away if you want to. And then at some point you make an ask. Hey,
Hmm.
listen, the group, 89,000 folks. I'm just starting this thing over here, or I need you to jump on my email list, because we're going to be whatever. Right now, you got an asset that you can leverage, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We could go down the rabbit hole. I want to just see if the things that we talked about today help you a little bit. And if they do, and you want to contact Sheri and I, she's just giving you some information. Where can they go to jump into one of those groups again?
So they can go to legit work from home jobs discussion. And well, actually, they can go to any of our groups, but the discussion group is the largest one. And it has links to all the rest of the groups. All the groups tie into the other groups, but the legit work from home discussion group is the one that
Just go to
most people.
Facebook,
Yep, just go to
look for it.
Facebook, search legit work from home jobs discussion.
Is there a website also that they can reach you, or
Yes, they can reach us at the hopegain.org website. And that also has a link to the group because the group is a program of the nonprofit.
and
So
that's Hope
yes,
Gain?
yep,
Tell us
hopegain.org.
about that name. I was on the site yesterday, and as I was doing the research and stuff, and I thought Hope Network must be over there spinning.
Yes, and that's exactly what I thought. I said, "Oh God." When I was just talking to somebody about that, and I was like, "I pray that Hope Network understands and doesn't think that we're."
Hope Gain. Where did the name Hope
Yeah.
Gain come from?
So the name came
Versus Gain
from,
Hope, right?
yeah, the slogan, gaining hope through or hope through gainful employment. So that's how,
Ah,
yeah, so that's how the name came to be about. Which we actually ended up changing our slogan later on, but we uh, made the name of the group based on the name of the nonprofit based on the slogan.
they get so much good stuff. Hopefully, you guys are listening to this and go, I got to figure it out, right? You can reach me at at IGRM Otterbridge, right? RM Otterbridge, yeah, Randy M something. Find me, all right, and then let's see if we can get you on my Calendly link. I am probably reviving in some shape or form the work for the world Wednesdays, so I can get out there and just give people more information. Of course, you can go over to my YouTube channel, find me on YouTube. It's got about, I don't know, 70 videos on it right now, and you can see some of the stuff that I do for free. I mean, free, y'all. Uh-oh. Right, and get into some of the products. I got products on Gumroad. You go over to https gumroad.com/Randy Otterbridge. Find some of the stuff. Support what we're doing. We are here for you, to help you. In my case, how can you monetize your life? How can you earn every dime online? And with Sheri, she's saying, listen, let's get into these legit, legit work from home jobs. So you can find her at on her one of her groups. We really hope you do, because
Yes,
we want you empowered again. And I mean
absolutely.
again, where you don't have to go to that 9 to 5 in the traditional sense. You hearing what I'm saying, y'all? In the traditional sense. Sometimes the kids keep you 9 to 5 busy, and you
Yes.
got to work third shift. When they go to bed, you got to get up and go, I'm putting it in. And then next thing you know, you have a flourishing situation, and it came in a non-traditional sense. That's what we hope for you. And we hope you've got some value. Let us know. If you want us to talk with you a little bit more, we can come on and tag team teach you if you
Yes.
want to. We'll create a company and just run it just to help you
Right.
guys out. Now, who's got time for that? But we'll do it. We'll do it
Yes.
if you want it, if you request it. All right, everybody, we will talk to you again, perhaps. If you guys want Sheri back on the show, just let me know and I will definitely get her back on. We can talk about all kind of cool stuff.
Yes,
In the
absolutely.
meantime, we will see you next time.